Hubert Cumberdale and myself. And another week's gone by. We're just here to give some updates on the project, the state of the kingdom, and answer some of the questions that were put up into the RapidR site. Just a reminder, if you go to talk.defykingdoms.com, you can add any questions you have there, have a discussion, add to other people's topics, and it's just essentially like the place where we will be sourcing some of these questions from. So yeah, I guess before we dive into that, we've got Dreamer, Sunbearer, Beetle, and Hubert. Do you guys want to say any words of hello or anything before we start?
Hello. Hey, everybody.
Hey guys.
All right.
I think my
So
initial hi was muted, but I will add to the hellos.
thank you. So we've got some questions on the RapidR site. Looks like the one with the most upvotes right now is about Harmony and the raising of the gas fees. As we all know, this game has the most transactions of any other project on Harmony. And we've had a interesting partnership with them where like we depend on them and they also burn a lot of gas and things from our project, so it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. And they've had to raise the gas fees in the past, and they raised it again recently, which we updated in our front end. I guess the question is more about like what's the plan for the future for that? Is it going to stay that high? It's obviously a lot higher now than it was before. And I think this one can basically just be answered in the same way that we've answered some of the other things with Harmony, is that we're trying to push for parity of the features across all of our chains. And we've got some updates coming pretty soon for that. We had some last week and the week before as well that added some new features. So just stay tuned for that. As we release those, it gives our players more options for where they can play. And the intent there is that whichever blockchain gives the best experience will be the one that will probably ultimately receive the most players. So being able to do questing and hero leveling up that's already there now, along with some of the other features that are going to be launching soon, that will give our players more choices there, so that if one chain does become more expensive than others, then you'll have the ability to move to the other chain as well. So I hope that answers that one for the most part. Hubert or others, were there any other thoughts on that from you guys?
I'll just I'm looking at the post right now as well. It had quite a number of likes and comments. And many of these comments are directly correlated with what we've been communicating as our priority one, Crystalville parity. So just want to make it very clear for any listeners that are unfamiliar with that, the frustration that any are experiencing on Harmony, either with previous events or current performance of RPCs or a change in fees. This directly corresponds to our Crystal parity efforts to bring everything we can do within, or as much as we can do within Serendale, to be able to do it on Crystal. Now, some of these things require enhancing bridging of either tokens or NFTs, new build outs on Crystal, new art, new solidity, and we've been seeing that output so far that will continue. So a lot of these comments of suggesting how awesome experience has been on DFK chain and how it's quicker and how we should, suggestions of moving there ASAP. I think that is listed as our priority one to make sure that option is available, as Foxy mentioned.
100%. Any other thoughts from anyone else before we move on to the next question? Okay. So the next one, and I'm happy we have Sunbear up on the stage. is what can the community devs do specifically to help build and grow DFK right now? Obviously, we have like the build program, which is progressing. We just had a meeting this last week about the raffle feature and how third-party projects can interact and integrate with that. But I think this one's more about, what other things, what outside of the box type of things like art, animators, Solidity programming, financial support, etc. And I didn't really see any comments on that one, but there were some upvotes, and it's currently the second most upvoted question. So, Sunbear, do you have thoughts? Does anyone else have thoughts? And then I'll share some of mine.
It's been really kind of amazing to see how so many people have desire to really help. Like I'm talking to people in the community that have so many great ideas about tokenomics, ideas about NFTs, about weapons, about, I mean, just all kinds of things. And in just even people just saying, just what can I do? How can I jump in? What can I do? And so I think as we're having these conversations, we're learning more about how the community can help. One way is to jump on and like create a proposal. If there's something you want to build or you think would help the community, that's what the build site's for. If you want to implement, like Fox was saying, the raffle ticket system, let's talk about a way you can do that or put a proposal up. I'm even doing just consults with people like, I've got ideas or want to explore different things that can happen. Be creative. We're figuring this out together in this new Web3 space. So, and also, we're using the build site to have people come and apply to get whitelisted to build on DFK, and then to do consultations about what they can actually bring on the DFK chain. So, if you've got ideas, let's talk.
I'll just echo the focus on DFK chain. Kind of links to the first topic as well. If you do have a game or a project that can be integrated in raffle system or a tool set that is Web3 enabled, they're looking to launch somewhere in the ecosystem, I do think having that already in the back of your mind, finding ways to add utility to DFK chain, which in turn increases utility of Jewel and overall burn of Jewel, and also brings more participants there, which will attract more not only interest from an investment perspective, but other protocol services and tools as well. The community at this point is not only very invested, but also passionate, and we would like to find ways to incorporate these projects into the crystal level parity and beyond type of approach. So really appreciate Sunbear and all of his efforts there. Actually had a call just before this with some folks from the community on the tokenomics piece and some ideas that they have, many of which of the items we have been thinking of, and it was very helpful to get their fresh perspective, and some of which have not thought of as much or have taken another route, and it's really helpful to get a different perspective as well. So for those that are qualified in it, I think this thing lists like pixel art, animators, Solidity, and I'm just going to add in there business, tokenomics. I think fundraising was also part of it. I think reaching out with the quality suggestions or efforts or projects or ideas in the channels that Sunbear listed would be greatly encouraged and appreciated.
Yep. I've had a lot of people reach out to me personally and just say, hey, I have experience with marketing, or I'm really good at risk management, and just offering to advise or consult or even offer their services basically for free, or just basically wanting to see the project succeed. And that's really really exciting to see and hear, because really that's the spirit of the whole blockchain. That's decentralization, where there's not necessarily one controlling entity, but it's a thing where the community plays a very real part in the projects that are being built, and it's a collaborative process, and it's has a lot of back and forth there too. So it's exciting to see things like that. I think there are a lot of opportunities, and I'm gonna probably start upping the priority of that in terms of how can we integrate those from the community that want to help more directly in the projects. Perhaps we could create some shared Slack channels or something so that our team can interface and chat directly with any of you who have those ideas as well. So I think that's a thing we'll for sure start to talk about more internally to see how we can utilize those resources from the community more effectively. So any other thoughts from anyone before we move on to the other question? Okay, this next one's probably a Hubert question. We've got Gen 0, 1 to 20 descendant stat reroll. This is one we've been talking about for a long time. Would it be possible to at least have the option to burn the tainted gene hero and just get my summon back to the hero that lost it rather than a reroll? I'd rather try again with the clean hero. Oops, I lost my place. Anyways, I'd rather try again with a clean hero. Because for another match, if I'm almost certain to lose the transcendent gene, I personally wouldn't have invested the crystals and stamina vials on a hero that didn't have those high level genes because I think they will mean something when PvP comes out. So Hubert, I'm sure you've had a chance to read this one as well. I won't read all of it. It goes a little bit more in depth, but the idea I think is that is there other options besides just having that gene be rerolled? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so as far as like getting a summon back and like burning the hero, that would be pretty complicated to implement. It is possible to do, I should say, but I don't know that that would take a lot of bandwidth to implement a solution that works that way. Especially for something like this where it's like a very targeted thing. I think we are looking for solutions that are, going to be the most efficient and least amount of like case by case individual type of work, which something like restoring summons and burning heroes would be that would be a little bit tricky. So not to say that we can't do something like that. I just don't think that right now with our bandwidth and everything we have working on, that's something that we would probably prioritize doing or actually do. Just to reiterate what our plan has been up until this point is, we have a list of all the heroes that are impacted by this, and the idea is we would essentially utilize that list to say which heroes need to have their genes rerolled. It's only the passive and active skill genes, which up to this point have not been used for anything. Those are intended for combat. And it's only like specific genes within those, which there are, 16 different gene slots that could potentially have been impacted. And we would only be re-rolling the specific gene that we can show kind of came from those tainted original heroes. I understand, the concern that some people, they maybe purchased heroes or summoned heroes specifically for those genes, and this question seems to be, looking at, what can be done to kind of make those people whole in a way if they feel that that because they made decisions based on those genes and we're going to be rolling those, can we do something about that? I don't have anything specific to say at this point, but the point is well taken as far as there's something we can do to at least kind of reimburse those players that own those heroes. I don't know what that might be. The thing suggests atonement crystals, which is definitely a possibility, but we haven't made a determination at this point. But definitely keep that in mind, and I think it is a good idea to, at least for not the owners of the original 1 through 20. It's actually 1 through 19, but not those, but everyone else. I do think it would be good to do something like an atonement crystal as an additional reward.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for expounding on that, and thanks for also like reiterating the current plan for those that aren't aware. Also, just to reiterate, those genes aren't being used currently in the game. We do have plans to use them, and that's why we want to sort of like repair them as well. Next question, DFK Duel tournament. This one's interesting. How difficult would it be to facilitate a tournament where you have kind of like a bracket where maybe you have a elimination thing and you like lose twice and you're out sort of thing, and climb the ranks. It sounds like the question here is more about sort of like a manual one that could be moderated, perhaps using private duels. So you'd have somebody say, okay, here's the official one, start the match, and then record the winners, and then say who's next. I think that would be really cool, actually. Having sort of like one-off tournaments like that is sort of our first step into like esports or something. And it would be interesting to set up. It would be fun to watch. I think we just need to figure out, I guess, who would want to participate in that, and how do we market that, and who would be facilitating like the moderating and that type of stuff. And it could be something that a knight or somebody from the community could do potentially. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Dreamer or Beetle or anyone? Hubert?
Yeah, when we first launched duels, that idea was talked about, I think, in Discord a bit. And Bolon was at that time looking into options there. That was prior to a few of the like 3 Sigma events that we saw occur. So I do think that was stalled a bit as we went to crisis management mode, but it definitely was something that was brought up. I think it was something that's communicated we wanted to do. It would be quite manual, but it would also be really, really fun and awesome. We also thought it could be potentially well timed or synced with like ranking system as well, either to launch it or kick it off, or like at the end of the season to have that feed into it as a qualifier of sorts. So great question. It is one that has been brought up, and it is one from a community perspective is being thought about and considered on the best way not only to make it fun, but execute on it as well.
Awesome. Any other thoughts about that? I guess I have a few more, just sort of like more general things about duels. We've been talking about, what does season 1 look like? How is it going so far with season 0? What have we learned? And I think one thing that we've learned is that having a more balanced matchmaking experience will be important. And then also having it launch on DFK chain will be important as well, because that currently there's a lot of transactions that are being done just from duels alone, and having that move over there could be a better user experience. It would probably cost less fees, and also burn more jewels as well, which is really a awesome and exciting prospect for me. So I think we'll be looking at doing that as soon as we can. The main requirement to get that up and going is the gold bridge, which Magnus is sort of working on with Layer 0 and Castorp and things like that. So any thoughts about that from anyone, or just on duel tournaments in general?
I was just going to add real quick, Frisky, this is a great example of what a dev in the community could do. Like if somebody wanted to build on DFK chain a system where we, do these competitions, and they create the interface and they work with us to get what they need in order to get that all connected, that'd be a great project, a way the community could contribute. So just as an example.
That's an excellent point, because if they make a smart contract or something that basically tracks the brackets and automatically awards the prize, that's entirely within the possibility of that. So yeah, that would be exciting to see if anyone wants to have a swing at trying to build that. Okay, well, let's move to the next question, which is a really interesting one, I think. Jewel and moving from Harmony. So there's a question: what will happen to the Jewel token if Serendale moves to another chain? Will there be a new token? Will all Jewel be automatically turned into a new token on a new chain? And this is actually a thing we've been talking about a lot internally. We're still trying to zero in on exactly how that will look, because we're still sort of trying to work out the logistics of exactly where we'll end up as well. We're pretty far along in talks with some entities, which we're trying to figure out the best place and time to share that with the community, so that we're all aware of the direction well in advance of it happening, and we're getting closer. I think I'll let Dreamer speak to this one a little bit, if you don't mind, Dreamer.
Sure. Actually, kind of missed the initial cue when everybody was saying hello. I didn't realize that was our cue to like give her many updates, but I do have an update as it relates to this topic. I actually, in about 5.5 hours time, having, I don't know at this point, if the 5th or 6th call with our front runner, as we've been referring to it in previous AMAs. This is the 2nd discussion with the investment team, and this is potentially considering a new home for Serendale, and directly relates to this question. So, in preparation for the potential of moving Serendale to another chain, we have talked about the tokenomics and Jewel, and we can't go into detail at this point because nothing is finalized. But there's a question to say, is Jewel expected to go away altogether? And in our current plans, and we have a couple of different versions, but in our current plans, we're not really looking to eliminate Jewel altogether. One very, very obvious reason is Jewel is gas on DFK chain. I have learned that as we're exploring all options, it is not an easy thing to change the gas token on an active chain without essentially restarting the whole thing. So we can say in pretty high confidence that in none of our preferred scenarios does it include the Jewel token going away completely. One of the questions, if we did have Serendale move to another chain, would there be a new token? That is one of the options you're considering. Is it kind of a potential Serendale 2.0 with maybe making it a little bit more targeted to whatever the new chain's audience is, while keeping all of the features and majority of the field, but also having kind of a rebirth as a potential. Part of that could be a utility token that is native to them, and maybe that would affect the tokens that we have today, and giving an option to have them in another form. Potentially, we don't want to pretend like we're not thinking about these things. In fact, we're thinking about all of these plus many other options. And when we solidify things with the investment team and how this is going to make it quote unquote worth it for all involved, then we'll really need to hunker down on tokenomics and provide the community with enough time to digest that, and some things even get input on, and make sure that the result, it's really a unique opportunity and potential silver lining to fix a couple of quote unquote problems or issues or focus points as it relates to unlocking and others. So in as much detail and long-winded answer as I can give, thinking about all these things, I think the most confidence we can answer now, though, is very, very unlikely for Jewel to just go away altogether, as it's more disruptive than just having the name or image of a utility token in Serendale as it relates to DFK chain as gas.
I accidentally unmuted and then remuted. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, that explains a lot. When we are trying to find a new home for Serendale, there's a lot of things that it's a very sort of disruptive thing to move to a new blockchain, as a lot of other projects currently on, or I guess previously on Harmony, who have already moved, have kind of like found out. It's not a thing we take lightly, and so trying to find a good partner for that is a really good match on so many different levels is very important to us, and we're really trying to take the approach of like measure twice, cut once, because we don't want to ever have to do this again. And so that's very important, but there's also a lot of opportunities that it presents as well. When you're doing something that disruptive, you have opportunities to correct things that like you wish you had done differently. There's a quote I like. It says, "Don't be afraid to start over, because you're not ever starting from scratch. You're starting from experience." Not that we're starting over per se, but in a sense, we are basically moving and redeploying all of our contracts to a new chain. And we have the opportunity in that process to fix some bugs. There are some bugs that we fixed in the Crystal Veil launch, which we'll now be able to expand into this other launch as well, so that those stuff that have already been fixed will also already like be fixed in this other chain as well. There's stuff that will be more efficient, and I'm excited just from a pure developer and security standpoint of all of those prospects as well. There's also stuff with the economics that we can set up so that it's more in tune with what we want to do there as well. Excuse me. So yeah, that's that one.
Maybe
and sorry, no, go
maybe I
ahead,
can
Dreamer.
respond to some like real or live comments as well for chat. So definitely Jewel not becoming worthless. I think our primary focus is preserving the value of Jewel. Definitely not going to just burn away all of Lock Jewel that people have earned and have it not be of value going forward. I think that with our primary focus being adoption and the least amount of disruption for Serendale being live on a healthy chain with good partnership and funding for integration and the success there. We also want to make sure that the overall impact on the tokens we're holding today is not left in any way. So although it's a bit unclear at this point, the point I was trying to get across is utility, the unique utility of Jewel that is liquid and in circulation today. We're very focused on making sure that in the aftermath, I suppose, that token is definitely taken care of, as it represents more than just utility in Serendale. It represents all those that will look to build on DFK chain, all other games that integrate into Ralpha system on DFK chain. Banky and others, as we look to progress potential protocols that we gamify on the front end through DFK chain. Jewel is going to be integral there. We are looking to make sure that Jewel has a place in Serendale 2.0 for sure, 100%, although it's not finalized or able to be clear here. I'm trying to, in as much of a clear way as possible, make sure that the comments that might have heard, we might be just walking away from Jewel and then potentially burning all Lock Jewel, and is this the Jewel that we're all holding going to be worth anything? The answer is we're doing everything to make sure that it's the utility is not only preserved but enhanced and structured in a way that is stable and has a very good foundation going forward in this market and in various markets to come. So I hope that is helpful in response to the comments I saw that came in. Thank you for sharing those comments. Was unaware that I might have given hint to any other view than empowering Jewel and setting Serendale 2.0 up for a very successful launch.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, that is always like the first thing that we have on our priority list is how do we preserve the value of Jewel? How do we increase the value, and then increase the utility as well? So it's more of like a migration than anything else. So yes, for sure, value will be like maintained and even increased along with all these other changes that we're making there. That's the intent, and that is what we're like working towards as well. And yeah, about the time at the start, we do usually spend time at the start to sort of talk about what we're working on in all of our departments. I'm going to be doing that or allowing time for that after these next couple of questions, and then we'll kind of close up after that. So the second to last one is for Hubert, I believe. Clarify the requirements for level 10 profession quests. Can you clarify the requirements for Hero to do level 10 profession quests? Is it Hero level 10 or profession stat at 10 plus? Should be an easy one.
Yeah, it is easy. So yeah, we probably should just be calling it like skill level 10 profession quest to make it more clear for people, because it is supposed to just be the skill level, not the hero level. So.
Yep. Easy enough. The last one, what is the vision for subclass impact? Can you share any high-level info about the current plan around how heroes with a subclass will impact the game, aside from how we already know that it impacts the stat growth? Will it allow the hero to utilize yet to be defined abilities of that class at a lower effectiveness? For that one, I could specifically say that's been my intention. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that as well, Hubert.
Yeah, that has been our intention as well. A combat system still being developed, so what the final form of that looks like is difficult to for sure say. What we have looked at up to this point has been, each class has their own set of skills that are available that you can spend skill points on to get and then upgrade. And then we would just make a few of those skills as available from the subclass. So that was kind of the direction we were going with it. We have been going with it thus far. But, like I said, when you're developing something as complex as a combat system, things tend to change as you go along. And it could change a little bit, but the general idea has been, yes, you will have some impact in combat, like in terms of like active abilities or passive abilities that can come from the subclass.
Awesome. Well, that's it from the stuff from the Rapid site. So I guess we'll spend a minute now and just kind of go through Dreamer, Sunbear, Beetle Dude, and Hubert. If you guys could spend a minute and talk a bit about some of the other things you're working on, some of the things you're excited about that are coming up, or just any other things that you wanted to mention, and then I'll sort of wrap this up after that, if that's okay.
Sure. So I already gave an update on a front runner chain that we're talking to in half hour's time. So I won't repeat that one. The other update that I had slotted was an update from Synapse Bridge. We have been working with them to get new tokens supported on Crystalville as we are, not only working on community building on DFK chain, future parity, but also enhancing the bridges to help all of this. So our item bridge is being worked on in-house, but the Synapse powered bridge in game that we're looking to support Ethereum, getting very, very, very close. Hoping for an announcement that will probably be a co-marketing effort in Twitter coming soon. And with that will be adjustments to gardens in Crystal Vale. So people should expect a continued decrease, as was the initial plan, of the Jewel to X Jewel pool. And with the addition of Ethereum, likely a Crystal to Ethereum pool, and potentially an increase in the other existing pairs, like Crystal to Avox, USDC, to increase overall liquidity there. Other thing to note as well is as the market does potentially rebound, so to speak, or rally, having more of the TVL in DFK native tokens misses out, so to speak, on that upside. So with Ethereum and Avox being there, and the overall emissions and allocations increasing, with a potential rally in Ethereum and Avox, we would also see a natural upward pull on the price of Crystal as well. So looking to make sure in the bear market we continue to expand the variety of tokens on Crystalvale, continue to adjust the allocations, and incentivize folks to bridge over new tokens to make sure that we have liquid on and off ramps and a healthy depths. So no official date. Currently, the ball is in Synapse's court. I believe that further info will likely come out prior to the next AMA. However, like with other garden updates, we will try to give the community a fair amount of time to know what is coming, rather than just springing a new pool and adjustments in existing allocations on everybody. So I think previously we've tried to give at least 24 hours so people globally could know when they're being turned on. But we'll do that update in an announcement in Discord, and then follow with the execution, at least 24 hours or so after.
Cool. Well, I'll step up real quick. Sorry, Sunbear. Do it. Yeah, I just so everyone's aware, this week is a release week So we should be pushing some things out on Wednesday. Currently, we're looking pretty good on the Alchemist functionality for Crystal Vale. So that'll be basically a new zone, a new map area, and then some new NPCs and the Alchemist functionality there. And then we're pushing as hard as we can to get gold mining and crystal mining out as quickly as possible. Not sure whether we'll be able to get it out for this week's release, but that's still our goal. And then we have the vendor coming shortly after as well. Again, there's some bigger changes with the vendor, and I think Hubert can speak to those a little bit when he gets a chance to talk. So those are going to require a little bit more testing and make sure that everything's looking good there, as well as a nice little redesign that's making that vendor look real snazzy. So yeah, that's the update for the build side for this week. Just continuing to plug away.
Hubert, do you want to go since yours connects to what Beetle just talked about?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So just to talk a little bit more about the vendor. So yeah, this was something that we've been planning for a while. It just has kind of been on the back burner, and now it's finally being brought to the forefront. And we wanted to kind of make sure you guys were made aware of what's going to be happening. So essentially, what will happen is the vendor will have it'll use purchase history to somewhat drive the price of the items that he sells, which currently are a few potions and golden eggs. And so there will still be a minimum price for any of those items, but if those are highly popular and getting purchased a lot, the price will likely be above what the current minimum price is. So this is just to kind of help give a little bit more of a market, especially for the golden eggs. I know that was something where people are pegging it to the gold price, and we're pegging other eggs to that gold price. And our intent hadn't ever been to kind of peg the price for those. So this is kind of an effort to alleviate that and let the market kind of discover what the value is of the golden eggs, and try to uncouple that with the other eggs as well. So just so you're aware, when that happens, that you will likely be seeing the price of those things at the vendor potentially be going up. It will depend on activity. If people are not buying, then it will likely be at the minimum price. But that's something you can look forward to. And until that has been implemented, it'll be as is. So. And other than that, we're just on the mechanic side. We're supporting getting everything over for the migrate or feature parity on Crystal Vale, and that's kind of been how we've been operating, and still is. So I don't really have any other big updates to say besides that.
Exciting. Thanks for that. I think Sunbear, and then I'll go.
Sounds good. Let's see. Just a small update. Just some things that were from me. The Builders Committee is up and running, and so we are working on processing applications, requests, proposals, meeting with most of the teams that have put stuff up so far this week and setting meetings for that. We're a couple of the goals that we have right now for the near future, working on the UI for the Jester, where we'll have some of the games that are connected to DFK assets, working on getting a list for the menu and the website of different applications in the community that are connected to DFK, so you can have access to more things that people have built as they do their applications through the build.defykingdoms.com. Working on disclosures for those links in games, so that people are fully informed what like these aren't native products, and basically just to do their own research, things like that. So just to give you all that good information, and contracts with all those folks that will be co-marketing with and bringing in onto our interface. And also buttoning up the procedures and functionality for the Raffler wholesaler, which is primarily Fox that talked about earlier and is working on. So just continuing to work and excited to do more consultations with people in the community to explore ways to build on DFK chain, build on the game. That's my update. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Sunbear. Thank you, Dreamer and Beetle Dude as well. And also Hubert, even though I already said that. From the Solidity side, we don't have Magnus up here right now, but I can speak to that a little bit as well. He and I have been meeting more about the plan for some of the upcoming features, but also the plan for transitioning to a new chain. It's a big undertaking. We currently have 2 repositories for our smart contracts code. There's one called Core, which is the one for our Serendale smart contracts. And there's another one called Smart Contracts, which is a little bit more apt of a name. That is the newer repository that we created for the Crystal Veil smart contracts. And they're a little bit different in how we do the deployment process, and some of the strategies for testing is a little bit different as well. So we're trying to figure out the best way to consolidate those into one. The main reason why we have 2 different repositories is because some of the items that were fixed during the Crystal Veil launch, it was just easier to track those in a separate repo. But going forward, we'd like to consolidate those into one. So that's going to be a little bit of refactoring with our development process there as well. But I'm excited about that, and excited about some of the prospects with the chain that we're looking at starting to go into, because they offer some cool features as well that we should be able to like really take advantage of in our app as well. So yeah, that's an update there. I guess as like a more general note, things are progressing on the team, in the project. We are meeting regularly as like directors and like board members, and then with our team as well, just to make sure that we're on the same page. The meetings about tokenomics are always very interesting. The meetings about the Kingdom building program are always very interesting. The devs are hard at work, especially like the front end devs as well. I'm sure Beetle Dude mentioned a few of those there, but there's also a bunch of other things that they're doing just all the time. We don't have the API and the backend team up here on stage with us, but they are also hard at work. Pinecone and his team, there will be a lot of things that they'll be doing with this transition as well. So trying to set up the infrastructure for creating like node listeners for the newer chain and having the API set up for that will be important as well. So just a lot of stuff going on. From the marketing side, I know that we've been planning out tweets and things. We've got some that are coming out in conjunction of announcing some of the new things from Synapse Bridge, which I think Dreamer, I'm not sure if you mentioned it yet. Did you? The Ethereum?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So I think we're planning on trying to put out some tweets for that as well in conjunction with Synapse. So that'll be good. And then, yeah, I think that's basically it for the project. From the community side, we don't have Bolin up here. He had a thing to do. So I've been trying to moderate in a much lesser fashion than what he usually does. So my apologies for that. But he'll be back again next week. And he's been like really nailing it from the community side. I know that all of our knights are hard at work there as well and excited. And from the community, just members of the community, I see a lot of familiar faces here in the audience. Sandwich Punch, Senjuru, Not Fate Avernus, and a bunch of others. Really good to see all of you guys here as well. So, I've said it many times that the community is what really sets apart a decentralized project from just like regular projects that you see out there or like regular games. That is our strength. That's the strongest part of our project. We have an amazing community, and that will continue to be one of our biggest assets too. So we want to maintain that, make sure that you guys are feeling heard If you do have any questions that you'd like us to address on these, make sure to go check out that site, create an account, and add your question, and we will address it. We always want to maintain transparency and as much as possible, try to give as much info as we possibly can, while also trying to respect that the stuff that we say can and will influence like buying decisions. So we need to be careful about how and when we say certain things and make sure that we're really sure of things first before we say them. So it's sometimes hard to try to balance those two things, but that's where we're at. We're trying to be as transparent as we possibly can with you guys and involve you every step of the way in that process as well. Yeah, so with that, I guess closing statements, Dreamer, Sunbear, Beetle Dude, and Hubert, and then I'll finish up.
Yeah, I think just to add on before, I thank you for everybody's patience. I think I saw that one comment that said, just move it off, don't get greedy. As we don't want to forget about, where we are as it relates to the bridge incident, the impact on treasury runway, the impact of, I think 40 to 50% allocation of Jewel One and the movement of one over time and the news related to that over the last couple months, as long as the multiple 3 Sigma events. We just want to be very intentional with each one of these next steps. So I wouldn't say we're in any way trying to be greedy or holding anything up, but we also want to find a really good partnership in this new chain and learn from past partnerships and what we want and what we need and what you all need, and we don't want to be overly reactive, or I don't know if emotional is the right word, but just move quicker than we know is going to be net positive as a result of the move. So a lot of due diligence going into these decisions, some negotiation, a lot of seeking out overall fit and ability to support, not only from a investment perspective, but from technology perspective, and make sure that there is a overall improvement of quality of experience. So wanted to speak through to that comment and share a little bit of what we've mentioned before, but kind of bring to light as well. The moving of Serendale to a chain that is willing to partner with us in every sense of the way not only hopefully makes it better for Serendale and any unique features on Serendale, as all of our realms will have a limited amount of unique tokens and features in them, but also it extends our runway, it exposes us to new networks as it relates to the funding that we will start, maybe not restart, but resume as we work through Crystal Ball Parity and Serendale 2.0. So excited for these talks this week. I would really love to be able to come to the AMA next week and be able to dump a lot of information on where we are going and what is the plan. We will work towards that. May not be next week, but I would really hope that the next discussion and follow-ons allow for some juicy announcements and next steps. So we will be working hard toward that.
Yeah, just to reiterate that, sorry, Sunbear, real quick, but having the opportunity to do something like this, like it is a ordeal. It's not a thing that we ever thought we would have to do, but there are some silver linings, I guess, to that. And one of those is being able to get exposure to a new chain, and new like player base and users that will be inflowing from that, and essentially like newer like markets as well that are out there. There's other places of like the world that have like emerging markets that are really cool as well. So I'm excited about that prospect of it. And yeah, we do want to measure twice, cut once. Something this big can't be moved very quickly or very easily. It is a lot of work. We want to make sure we do it right. We want to make sure that we preserve our players and the value of their assets and all that in the process as well. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing, and we'll have more updates soon. Sunbear?
I just wanted to say a couple things about why I love this team and this community. One of them is exactly what you're hearing. Like, there's a lot of intentionality. We are thoughtful about how we do things. We think through them. We look at them from all perspectives. The other thing I love about this team is there's a lot of diverse thought. You know, we've got gamers, we've got tokenomics experts, we've got, you know, Solidity devs, we've got people from all these different, you know, professions and backgrounds to really explore these things from different perspectives. And there's conversation and dedication to what we're creating. And you're in this group, you're in our community because you believe in this too. And we're here even through the bear market, even through the Harmony, you know, stuff that happened and everything. It's like we're here because we believe in it and we know what's possible. And I just want to say I'm grateful to be here a part with you, with a part of this with you, and I'm grateful for this team. And I am continually impressed by the work that these people put into it. Just so you know, we are hard at work and we are going absolutely nowhere except up. So there's my closing comments. Bullish.
Super bullish. Thank you, Sunbear. Beetle Dude.
Cool. Well, that's a hard act to follow, but appreciate those words, Sunbear, and I can echo those as well. We are continuing to move forward and build, and still pushing quite a few features out continuously, and we've got a great build team right now that are doing awesome work, and so I'm just excited to continue bringing you stuff and hope to continue that going forward. Thanks for being such an awesome community. It's great to get a chance to talk with you each week. Bullish.
Thanks, Beetle. Hubert.
Yeah, I think I really can't really follow up with anything new beyond what everything else that has been said by everyone else. So I'll just say bullish, and yeah, we're still working towards adding more features all the time. So we're focused right now on feature parity, but we are also looking at where we can add in a few little things that are new, like this the vendor thing. But once we get to feature parity, then it's all our focus is all on new content. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to what we can put out for you guys, and bullish.
Thank you, Hubert. And also thanks everyone in the community for coming to listen. Just having a look at the people here, so many names that I know and love. There's Blessith, Belsaron, Cujo, Three Wolves, Superior Form, Longsai, just so many names, Stronghold. Really good people here in this community. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, and that's why our team is still here, and that's why our team is still going strong, is because we feel that energy from you guys, and we have that shared dream and shared vision for what this could be. So we will just stay here. We'll continue building and continue progressing towards those goals that we have for the team and for the project and for the community. And until next time, make sure to go put your questions there in that site, and we'll have a look at them. And looking forward to speaking with you guys in the chats as well. So thanks for coming, everyone, and thanks for all you do. Bullish.
Bullish.
Bullish.